All right, Christmas week is upon us. Talking all things sports. In this case, as you see from the lovely ambiance around us, it's Buffalo Bills. I should say the AFC playoff clinching Buffalo Bills. Now officially in the playoffs. Time to talk Buffalo Bills football. We do it every week with our guy from Cover One. He analyzes and breaks down the film and gives us all kinds of interesting information. And we know that he loves Die Hard as a Christmas movie. Let's welcome in the one, the only Anthony Prohaska. Today's broadcast, by the way, brought to you by our friends at Crest Cadillac. We'll talk more about Crest in just a little bit. What's up, Anthony? Welcome to the club. You guys are in the playoffs, baby.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm pleased. Still see what happens with the push for the division, and we'll kind of see if they can work out maybe somewhat of a Christmas miracle, because that means the Pats would have to lose to the Jets. No disrespect, or the Dolphins. We'll see what happens here. But thank you for having me.
Real quick, Lurch, why did you say welcome to the club as if you are the
I was going to make that comment. I didn't want to be rude.
Right? Welcome to the club.
I'm wearing my Steelers gear today, man.
I didn't want to be rude.
Welcome to the club, man.
Well, they're not in the playoffs either yet.
They're gonna go. Come on now. There's no way they're losing to and then Ravens team that can't seem to figure itself out is winning too. That's not happening at all.
Okay. But anywho, even still wearing Steelers gear, I don't know if you just wear a mask and all of a sudden, hey, I'm getting into this party.
Just wearing different team stuff. Well, look at me. I'm a Steeler. Yeah.
Listen, Boy Green,
we're in the playoffs.
You know, from over the years, I have learned wisely from my old partner, Bud Poliquin, who would jump on any bandwagon that was available when it was available.
Sure.
Plus, I'm happy with my club. My club's called the number one club, and I like it very much. 2 more losses, and we're number one. We're number one chance will be resounding.
Are you taking a quarterback, or are you sticking with Jackson Dart? You're going to take
we're sticking with Jackson Dart, and we're going to trade that thing for a haul is what we're going to do. We're going to
There was a lot of hesitation.
We're going to get that desperate team right next to me, Hey, nothing's out of the realm, but I don't think you can roll the dice twice. I think you roll it once, it comes up 7, you just stick with it and you move forward and you say it's just destiny,
Understandable.
This is going to be our guy. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Okay. Real quick, Anthony, before we get to the rest of it, we're going to be asking all of our guests this. So I want to throw it over to you. Me and Manchild are playing against each other in our radio digital fantasy football championship. One of us is going to win a third title. One of us is going to lose. We faced once before, and Manchild beat the crap out of me and won by like 100 fantasy points. So I need to ask you, who are you rooting for, Anthony Prohaska? Me or Manchild?
In that graphic.
Okay.
It's tough because I feel like Paul, you would be pretty insufferable if you won.
Oh, I will
just
let
him know.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Jim.
Thank you.
But also from an outside, you're welcome. But from an outside perspective, it's kind of like watching the world burn, and that can be a little exciting. So I think I kind of am gonna lean. But also, like, Paul not winning, I guess would just make me feel better. I don't know why.
Wow. Yes, yeah, right. There's a better feeling about that. I thank you. Thank you, Anthony, for that. Thank you.
I'm really do either of you guys have any Bills on your team?
I had the Bills defense this past week.
Yeah, that's weak.
I'm gonna root for Jim.
Yeah, that's really weak. See, at least put that in there, Anthony. No, I wanted some Bills. I did not get any Bills. I'd love to have James Cook on my team these days.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because Cook can cook. So fantasy aside, let's transition. Oh, what? Go ahead.
Well, just real quick, 2 things. So I played the Bills defense this past week. So there you go. And I also played against the guy who played Josh Allen, which worked out very well as I eliminated his Paducah as I moved on. So it was a double bill.
I'm rooting for Jim.
There you go. Very clear now. You've really said it. You see where this goes, Anthony. I will, if I win, be a, I'll probably rub it to him a little bit, but I'm usually a fairly humble winner. But
gracious winner.
He will give it to me like there is no bit, and I'll get it for a year. I won't even get it for a day.
That's what I imagine, like insufferable for a year, until the next champion is crowned.
Plus, it was a really cool dynamic in our fantasy league. So the league's been going, Paul was telling me, 9 years now. So the Champs League, which was our first league. Now we have 4 leagues, so they're all, they've came progressively one after the other. But the Champs League, which is the one we care about the most, has been going 9 years. This is pretty remarkable for fantasy football because we have outstanding players in our league, and this is not just the average friends league. We have 2 fantasy experts in this league. We've had other insiders in this league. We have a very dedicated group of people. And Paul has been in the finals now. This will be his 5th appearance in 9 years in the championship.
Dynasty.
Now he's won 2. So he's 2-2 in championship games, but
Mm,
this will be his 5th appearance in 9 years. That is actually really remarkable.
this is pretty
And
legit.
I have to
Wow.
give credit where credit's due. I haven't done that. This will be my 3rd trip to the fantasy championship. I won the very first year. He won the very second year. I became the first 2-time champ. Then a year or two ago, was it the year before last, right?
Yeah, year before last.
He became a 2-time champ, and he matched me. Like, I had that over him. So now if he goes 3-time champ before me, Anthony, it's just the agony, the toil.
It's like a blood feud right here. I like it.
But
And in championship games,
Manchild.
Anthony, I have been there twice. This is my 3rd trip. I am 2-0. So I'm undefeated in the Super Bowl here, so to speak. And I'm going back to the well one more time, which is dangerous. I'm a little worried about that. Ooh,
And Lurch, by the way, you're underselling it. You think I'm only going to be saying it for a year and then the next champion gets crowned? I'm going to hold this over for you for the rest of my life. Who knows if we're ever going to face off in the fantasy championship ever again?
See what I'm dealing with?
Oh, yeah.
It's tough. I don't
know. Which again, Anthony, you've picked your side, you traitorous bastard. But let's go back to the Buffalo Bills for a second, because Anthony, on the Monday Night Football game, the Bills are at home and you guys clinch a playoff spot with the Colts loss to the San Francisco 49ers. So how did you celebrate? How do you celebrate, and how do the Bills celebrate when they've been making the playoffs every year? Does it mean a little less that you just sort of punched your ticket in? Because I assume that's what Bills fans expect now on a year-to-year basis with Josh Allen at quarterback.
From a Bills team perspective, I think they see it as a legit accomplishment. They're very much like by the book in terms of, okay, the goal is to win the Super Bowl, but in order to do that, punch a playoff ticket, like win your division, like win the conference. Like they're very much, and then like even to win, to earn a playoff spot, you have to win every single week. So they're very much like a legitimate like roadmap or a checklist to be like, okay. Like, so they value all those things. So I think this is just another an accomplishment they're happy with, but it's very much just like part of the overall larger, grander scheme that they're trying to go for, which is a Super Bowl. I think from a fan's perspective, I think for most, it's kind of, this is just par for the course now. It's like this team makes the playoffs and it kind of is what it is. I think the expectation is for them to at the very least make the playoffs every year. I think you're going to get some folks that might not be pleased if they don't win the division, but I think there is still kind of an appreciation for, hey, they made the playoffs. That's cool. I didn't do too much like celebrating, mainly because that game like went late and I was super tired, and I actually forgot about it. Like I was zoned out into that game. I was like, Phillip Rivers is balling out. And then like the Colts can't stop anybody on defense. I was like, this is kind of fun. I was lost in that game. And then I realized again, once they lost, I was like, oh, this means the Bills clinched. And I kind of appreciated it for a minute. And then I think I rolled over on my right side and I passed out.
Well, one of the things that I've seen from the Bills this season, and I think this past weekend's game was really indicative, is the Bills can win in different ways. And this past week, they won it with that running game. And we talked about it in the preseason, Anthony. I mean, as you know, we talk all season long. Anybody that watches our pod knows that we have our guys, and our guys come back every week, and we have these evolving, continuing conversations, which I love. And we talked about James Cook. Remember, there was the theory that they were going to walk away from Cook, that maybe they would trade Cook, that, James Cook might not be a part of this roster. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine, having watched this past week and really this entire season, James Cook not being a part of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he's meant so much to this team. And for I think as much as, again, Josh Allen is the story and the reigning MVP, and depending on what happens down the stretch, might be the MVP again this year. James Cook really is the straw that stirs the drink. James Cook, the running game, the offensive line, Aaron Cromer, Joe Brady tying into that, everything, the tight ends. It really is what makes this offense go. They are a condensed formation, bigger body types and winning with personnel groupings and formation and alignment. They're not built to chuck it around the yard 30 to 40 times. They are a run team by design, which angers a lot of Bills fans because they have Josh Allen. But I think their offensive design is very much in line with the meta of current offensive trends and NFL football. And James Cook is at the focal point of that. And you see it in a game like the Browns game where, Allen made some plays, missed some, had an unfortunate drop with Dawson Knox. But at the end of the day, even though the Browns kind of stood up for themselves a little bit defensively in the second half, it really was James Cook in that ground game that makes them go. And he's making a lot of people kind of look foolish. Or a lot of people were on the don't pay him, you don't pay running backs. And all of a sudden now people are like, they should have paid him more.
Yeah.
Well, let me go here. Is a win and Buffalo beat the Browns and, hey, we're just stacking them and racking them, baby? Or is there any concern that the Cleveland Browns, who currently have a top 4 pick of the draft, just push the Buffalo Bills to the brink?
I think it definitely is that a little bit. Their performance, especially from a defensive standpoint, where it was just a lot of screens and running the ball for Cleveland, and then Shadur hurts his finger and can't really throw. Like it was a lot of, I don't want to say gimmicky things in a bad way, but it was just not necessarily like a true NFL offensive performance. And the Browns really dictated that game. Like they had an unforced error with the interception to Poyer early, where Shadur puts it a little bit on the back shoulder. The running back pops up into the air. You get the unfortunate deflection that leads to another interception. Shadur hurts his finger in the low red zone. They have to put Dylan Gabriel in. And again, I know I mentioned a whole bunch of things, but the Browns offense really dictated for a majority of that game. They ran the ball when they want. The Bills had a poor run defensive performance again, which continues to plague them. And then the offense stalled and sputtered a bit in the second half. Granted, you have Dawson Knox's drop mixed within that. And so, okay, they probably should have put up at least 30. But I think there's something to be said for the Bills not necessarily putting teams away or beating them in the fashion you'd like them to. And I think some of that is tied to the struggles they have from a design standpoint, a personnel standpoint, offensively and defensively.
Talking with Anthony Prohaska, Cover One, our Bills insider, all things Buffalo Bills. Bills, in case you haven't heard, folks, have punched their ticket to the playoffs. Now it's just a race to the division crown. Again, one of the things we've been monitoring as well, Anthony, is the play of the New England Patriots, and they continue to play terrific football. Give me your latest assessment of New England, and not only what they've done here during the regular season, but what their capabilities might be in the playoffs.
I still think they're a good team. I think Drake May's a really good quarterback. I think he's definitely in contention for the MVP. I think it's hilariously ironic that we've talked so much about them having a paper schedule. And then, of course, Lamar Jackson goes down in this game. But, kudos to them. They kind of rose up when they needed to down the stretch in the fourth quarter and took that game back. But I still feel similarly about the Patriots now as I did previously. I think they're a good team. I think they're very beatable, just like, honestly, most teams in the AFC. Like every team in the AFC has varying deficiencies or vulnerabilities and how severe they are. Is it one? Is it multiple? Where are they? And I think the Patriots are very much in that boat. I think there's significant questions on both sides of the ball for them, and some situational aspects. But again, that exists for a lot of AFC teams as a whole. So do I think they're a favorite to, win the conference? No. Do I think they easily could win the conference and go to the Super Bowl? Yep. And I also feel that way about like 3 to 5 other teams in the AFC because of how wide open it is.
It's funny. I was with my brother yesterday, who knows nothing about sports, but for some reason, while I was hanging with him at a little family gathering yesterday, said to me, "Hey, I haven't really been paying attention to football." I'm like, "Oh, really?" He says, who are the contenders this year?" I was like, "Do you got a pad and a paper?" I mean, NFC, AFC, I don't even know where to go. There's no standout team, in my opinion, in the NFL this year. There are probably 4 or 5 teams that could win it on either side. There are that many in it. And given a good week, given a good performance out of a superstar or something, that team could win and theoretically find their way, into a Super Bowl. And that obviously includes the Buffalo Bills. I think it's more wide open this year than we've seen in quite some time.
I absolutely. You've had for the past several years, especially tying into that, it's always felt like every year, if the Chiefs are in it, no matter what form they were in, everybody was like, well, it's going to be the Chiefs. And then for a couple of years, it was like, I don't know, the Ravens look really great. And then a couple of years, it was like, I don't know, this might be the Bills year. So it was really one of those 3 teams. But even for me, like I was still very much like, until someone dethrones the Chiefs, I'm picking the Chiefs every year. It's the Chiefs and everyone else. Like I don't care what everyone else looks like. Until someone beats the Chiefs in the playoffs, I'm picking the Chiefs. And I think that maybe existed for fans as well. And so you have them out. Baltimore has been hurt all year, and now it looks like they might not make the playoffs. And then you look at everybody there, like Denver just got waxed at home. I think so many people attach quarterback play to everything. I don't think a lot of people believe in Bo Nix. The Jags, I think, have a stigma about them, and so does Trevor Lawrence potentially. The Bills don't look like world beaters aside from Josh Allen. And then you've got the Patriots, and you've got my pick for the AFC coming out is the Texans right now. But you've got the Texans, but they also didn't look great this past week against the Raiders. Like everyone can be got, even more so than your prototypical or proverbial like any given Sunday type of mantra. It absolutely is wide open. I think it starts with the Chiefs not being in there, and then some of the other previous favorites not really looking like themselves, or in the Ravens' case, not being in it at all.
All right, Lurch asked you for a temperature check. Hey, give me the latest on the Patriots. So I'm going to ask you a question, Anthony, that I asked you before, and I'm going to get you a quick re-rack. We'll get you, an updated take on it, and it's the seeding. If the playoffs started today, the Buffalo Bills as a 6 seed would play the Jacksonville Jaguars as a 3 seed.
Ooh.
But there's paths to a lot of different things. They could jump up, and then maybe you could get maybe the 5, 6. There's other seeding possibilities. We'll go crazy talking about them all. But they could play the Steelers in a 4-5. They could play. There's just a lot of combinations. Yep. Is there rank the teams that if you were running the operation, you're like, yeah, I'm calling out that guy. That's the team I want if I could pick them out. And then maybe some of the matchups that are possible that you are a little nervous about.
Rather not have that one.
I don't want to say who I want to play because I'm far too superstitious for that, and I'm not going to.
Well, that's why I want you to say it, Dan.
Yeah, that's why I figured.
He tries this all the time.
Because it's so wide open and because the Bills have, issues with the run defense, I think that ties into some of the coverage stuff, some pass rush questions. Then on the offensive side, questions on the outside with pass catcher, wide receiver. I want no parts of Houston, especially if they somehow get home field, which I don't even know if that's possible anymore. And with the Jags rolling in their schedule, it probably doesn't look likely, but no jinx there. I want no parts of Houston, wherever it is. I don't want to play Houston first and foremost. Denver's defense seems, vulnerable and a little gettable, but I still kind of fear them a bit. I guess if I had my druthers, if I had to play anyone that I could prefer, it would probably start with the Steelers.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because we played them already, but that could kind of work against the Bills because you have played them already. But I think there's questions with this Steelers team that aren't really going to be fixed by playoff time. And that's more so of, just the rest of the conference. I think the Jags are a wild card, but I think they're well coached on both sides of the ball. And I know everybody likes to make fun of Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence has moments where he looks like a top 3 or 5 quarterback in the league. And granted, it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, you're kind of dead. So I don't want to run that risk. So I'd rather, I guess, play it safer, quote unquote, with the Steelers. And that's kind of from a logistics standpoint. I think it's hard for the Bills to match up with the Chargers early on until late. So you're really looking at okay, do you want to play the Pats? Do you want to play the Broncos? Do you want to play the Jags? Do you want to play the Steelers? I would start with probably wanting to play the Steelers and then kind of letting the chips fall where they may. But I definitely don't want to play the Texans. And I think I might not want to play the Jags second after not wanting to play the Texans.
Mm-hmm. Talking with Anthony Prohaska at Cover One. He's our good buddy. He talks all things Buffalo Bills with us. Today's broadcast is brought to you by our friends at Crest Cadillac. Let's just take 30 seconds to learn a little bit more about our friends from Crest.
Cadillac certified pre-owned vehicles, exclusively available in Central New York at your participating Cadillac dealer, Crest Cadillac. Each one must meet high standards and receives a 172-point inspection, along with a 1-year unlimited mile warranty after the original warranty expires. Come into Crest Cadillac in Syracuse today for exceptional offers on Cadillac certified pre-owned models. CrestCadillac.com.
All right, we are back at Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're giving out free stuff, baby. You can't beat that. We're feeling the Christmas spirit and the holidays. Boy Green is giving out this fabulous Jets program from back in the 1970s. Joe Namath and John Riggins on the cover. Very cool stuff. We just sent out a cool movie memorabilia piece, an autographed photo of the Hanson brothers from the movie Slapshot. Very cool. And there'll be other good giveaways. I'm talking about, Anthony, this is a tough one for me to part with. I might part with my 4 bobblehead collection from the Anchorman movie. I have the original bobbleheads from the Anchorman. I have 4 of them. I don't have Ron Burgundy because I ridiculously gave it away to somebody years ago who asked me for it. I don't know why I did that. I would have had the whole collection.
Hey, quick question, Anthony.
Very cool.
Are you an Anchorman movie fan?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's put the trivia on. I won't play the trivia music here, but I'll ask you this, Anthony. Okay, so Ron Burgundy, we know him. He's off the table. Can you name the rest of the broadcast team? Can you name all of Ron Burgundy's partners? There.
Not last name, but Steve Carell is Brick Tamlin?
There you go.
Brick Tamlin. You got that one? Okay, Bing. You got that right.
The sports dude is Champ Kind. Champ
Yeah,
Kind.
See, look at you. Look at you. You started this off with I can't name last name.
I don't remember. I remember a bunch of Paul Rudd's quotes, but I don't remember Paul Rudd's character's name.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll jump in for you.
First name Brian.
Oh wow, I would have never gotten that.
Yeah,
Brian Fontana.
Yeah, Brian Fontana, Sex Panther.
They don't really use his name a ton. Like I feel like if people aren't talking to him, like all I remember is like the Sex Panther, and 60% of the time it works every time.
And by the way, the bobblehead has him holding a little bottle of Sex Panther.
Okay, cool. And there's one last one left. Anthony.
It's a real panther, so you know it's good.
That's right.
Oh, Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I remember her. Do you remember her character's name?
Veronica.
Yes, there you go.
And
Veronica.
Last name.
Rolls off.
Veronica Corningstone.
Veronica Corningstone. That's good. And I had to play to get the first name. I thought of when he's like, I thought you were joking. I wrote it in my diary that night. Veronica had a very funny joke today. I laughed about it later that night. That's how I remember the first Veronica Corningstone. Good call.
Yeah, the other nickname, Tits McGee. Tits McGee was another one that could went.
You have bad hair. What did you say?
Oh yeah, great! One of the greatest movies of all time. So I just thought I'd get some trivia in there with Lurch giving that out.
There.
So yeah, Lurch giving that out at 475 subscribers. Unbelievable. Good for him.
Love it. Yeah, they're gonna give away the four collection. It's heartbreaking, man. It's gonna be tough to part with them. Somebody good, somebody I like better win that.
Now let me ask you, Anthony. Speaking of parting with things and whether it would hurt them or not, is it going to hurt when the Bills inevitably part ways with Keon Coleman? Another healthy scratch. What was this reason for? Okay, it had been late to meetings and this and that. What's okay, Anthony? All right, disciplined professor. All right, what happened here? Why was Keon a healthy scratch this time around?
I don't know. He's a healthy scratch. Gabe Davis was also a healthy scratch. Yes. I think it'll be interesting to kind of see. I mean, Larry Ogunjobi was also a scratch on the defensive side, which kind of seemed odd at the last minute.
Do you buy this? Because I see Sean McDermott said he was playing a wide receiver numbers game, and he wanted Hardman here as a returner and this and that. Is that real, or is that just a bunch of malarkey?
I think there's always a shred of truth to most things Sean McDermott says, but they are very close to the vest with anything and everything at One Bills Drive. Him, Brandon Beane, like you do not hear much of anything ever that comes out. Guys they're interested in for free agency, for the draft, how they really truly feel about things. Again, that goes back to like when they got picked for Hard Knocks, everybody was like, the Bills, the team that doesn't like let anything out. Right. And I think that also contributed to why Hard Knocks was so boring this year, because everything was like so sterile. I think there is some truth to that. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do from an inactive, active standpoint against Philadelphia this week with how that game shakes out. But I think it goes to tie it all back to Keon. You know, you could make the case like, oh, maybe he really is done and they're out on him, or it could be really is a numbers game. But even so, like if it's still a numbers game, if he was doing his thing, he'd be one of those numbers that's being active. Like no matter how you slice it, it's not good for him. And I think we're kind of creeping closer and closer towards, not necessarily them cutting him in the offseason, but, maybe kind of, again, seeing what he can do. But I think with each passing game, it seems like we're getting further and farther away from him being a real impact player and them having to, address multiple spots above him and have to push him down the depth chart. However you look at it, as optimistically or as with the biggest silver lining as you want, it's not good that he's not dressing again. We didn't hear the rumblings that we did last time, but even if there's a legitimate reason, you never sit the guys that you feel like you need on the field to win. And so them sitting him again makes it seem like they either don't need him out there or don't want him out there.
What blows my mind, Anthony, and this goes all the way to draft talk, is how teams, and it's not just the Bills, it's every team in the NFL, they just give extra chances, extra time, extra everything to the players that they select higher in the draft, particularly first and second round picks. And they just say, we can't quit on this guy. Meanwhile, all evidence to the contrary. If you had a guy who was just a free agent that you picked up off the scrap heap or somebody from the 7th round, and that guy was performing poorly, you'd be like, bye-bye. Okay, we don't need him. He's out of here. All right, we're cutting him. We only take good players here in Buffalo. You get a person you pick in a second, they're playing the same crappy ball as that guy that wasn't drafted or was a 7th round pick. And they're like, yeah, we got to nurture him. Let's mold him and shape him. Maybe we can straighten him out. We can get him on time to meetings. I mean, what the heck? Show up on time to meetings, pal. It's part of the basic structure of NFL life. It's what you get paid for, man. Show up. What the heck's the deal?
Yeah, I think some of it is, I think it's a multitude of things, right? I think it's a little bit of sunk cost fallacy stuff where like you invested all of these resources in, so you still want to feel like you get your money's worth. You don't want to cut bait. I think there is something to be said for guys you take earlier, you maybe believe a little more in, or if you think they have a certain ceiling, it's like, okay, they need a little bit of time to try and get them there and see what they can do. And then I also think just from a, talent standpoint, guys with more talent or who are perceived to have more talent, they get things for them all the time. That goes to college, that goes to anything. You see one person who, is late for curfew and they're out for the game. But then if a really good player it's like, okay, you're going to be out for the first drive. And it's like, oh, okay. If that was a depth guy, he'd be done and he'd be sitting. So we see those kind of exceptions be made all the time throughout society. People with more talent or more value at certain points perceived to have that. They get exceptions made for them. And I think that maybe it's a little bit of that mixed with believing in him still, the ceiling, all these pieces.
Anthony, we've got a big game coming up this weekend. We get Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles. My first question for you, Anthony, with this Buffalo team is, are they going to show up? Because if you look at the Bills-Eagles history, the Eagles have the Bills number. The Bills have lost 5 of their last 6 matchups against Philly. Are they going to actually show up for this one? Or does just the Eagles have their number?
You know what? I've been keeping my eye on this game for weeks just because I knew how things were kind of shaking out. But like, the Eagles the Eagles don't look good, but I also am still fearful of the Eagles. Like, they still have good talent. They're still well coached, although it seems like things continue to not connect for them. I think they have a recipe that can mess with the Bills. Like, if they can run the ball, and they've shown the ability to do that with Saquon or with Hurts, granted it hasn't always connected for them this year, especially if they've had injuries up front on the offensive line. But I think they have a good recipe offensively for the Bills. You've got 2 receivers that I think give the Bills corners matchup concerns. Like, I mean, and that should be for most teams, which makes the struggles for the Eagles so mind-boggling. Like, do you have someone athletic enough or fast enough or technical enough to stay with Devonta Smith? Do you have a freak at corner who can match with a freak of an athlete of A.J. Brown with his size and speed and strength and frame? And for the Bills, it's a little tough. Like, you've got Benford who has some size and frame, but I don't think he has the athleticism that A.J. Brown has. I don't think he has the speed to stay with Devonta Smith. I don't think Trey White has the size or the speed. Max Hairston has the speed. I think you could put him on Devonta Smith and see what happens a little bit. But him versus A.J. Brown, I think, is a no-no. But then they also don't play a ton of man. But do they travel a little bit like they did with, Benford against DK, Benford against Jamar Chase? We'll see how that kind of fits in. I think that side of the ball is really interesting. Because on the other side, I think it's really just going to come down to what it is every week, where the Bills are going to want to run the ball. Can they run the ball? If they can, they're golden. If they can't, it's a problem. But I still think this Eagles team is dangerous. I know they've underachieved this year from a record standpoint, coming off of their Super Bowl victory last year, but they still got good coaches in that building. They've still got good, talented dudes who can, like, they've got guys on that team that you win because of, not just guys you win with. And they also have guys that you can win with. So they're a team to be respected and feared in my mind. And I don't like this individual matchup for the Bills schematically, even though the Eagles haven't really, kind of looked like the team they were preseason.
And, one other quickie here, maybe we should have asked this question a little bit earlier, but word was out yesterday, but let's get it out to people who may have missed it. But Josh Allen was nicked up at the end of that game. I understand x-rays have come back clean, Anthony. So there's no doubt, right, that Josh Allen is full steam, ready to go, and he's going to finish out this season strong at this point, correct?
That's such a jinx and a superstition
moment
for me. But yeah, in theory,
way to go, Manchild.
I was gonna say, I know it was an accident from you. And I knew if it was from Paul, I'd be like, that's on purpose. You're trying to back me into a corner here. I think he'll be okay. Him kind of talking about, tweaked it. He said it swelled up on him a little bit in the post-game presser. You're like him, like so many other guys, you're going to have like a cut off arm or leg to get him to not suit up. The issue though is if he is diminished in any capacity, their offense really is James Cook in the run game and Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. And so if you remove any part of the Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things, especially if it's something attached to one of his wheels, right? It's not like, his non-throwing shoulder, like anything.
It's just a foot. Yeah.
Yes. Anything to one of his wheels or his throwing shoulder, is going to be a problem in some way, shape, or form. And so, I think it's something to keep an eye on. I don't think it's anything that's going to tremendously hinder them. But I think it is something to kind of keep an eye on, and something that I think everybody kind of collectively held their breath with when it happened in the news after.
All right, Anthony, we end. This is the final one here. We're in Christmas week. One final Christmas question for Anthony, and then we'll call it a holiday season, so to speak. So is there anything in the Prohaska family or in the Prohaska world that you do every Christmas in terms of visiting someplace or being something or checking something out? Like, we have this thing up in Central New York called Lights on the Lake. And a lot of people like to make that. It's like a seasonal ritual for them. So is there something the Prohaska family must do in preparation for, or as you, or even on Christmas itself? You get to pick from anything in that world.
We've kind of done different. We always try to do like some kind of like outdoor activity in like December, like whether it's some kind of like lights activity or some kind of skating thing, some kind of thing like that. So that in structure is there, but will vary kind of what we do. I think there's one that kind of sticks every year. There's a place up here in Buffalo called Original House of Pancakes, and it's phenomenal. We go there every Christmas Eve morning, like early in the morning.
Nice. I love this.
It's that place is so good. So we do that. Like, that hasn't changed. That hasn't pivoted. Like every Christmas Eve morning, we're going to Original House of Pancakes. So we have other things kind of penciled in, but we change the specifics of what we do. But every Christmas Eve morning, it's Original House of Pancakes.
All right, actually, let me sprinkle one more in, because we won't be asking these holiday questions moving forward. Is spending time with your family the most overrated part of Christmas?
I think it depends on the family.
Yeah, right.
What the hell? We all like have to do it apparently, because that's what the gods have foretold to the stars. But why? Why do we? Why do we have to?
And holidays are when families come together, and Christmas is a big one for that. But I think it depends on the family. If your family's terrible, it's super overrated, or maybe a horrible task. If your family's amazing, it's probably underrated and something you might even do regularly or want to do more regularly. Yeah, it's a tough one. There's a lot of variables to that one.
The man with the 2 young children asked that question. I mean, man,
it's sort of beyond your household.
It's all starting for you, man.
Beyond. Obviously, I've got to spend the rest of my life with these godforsaken people in my household. But I mean, beyond the household, those people who spend. It just seems like that's an additional element, an additional tax, an additional chore. The holidays are supposed to be for us to spend time together, and now I got to split up my time. God, we heard
this guy's got a large family, Anthony. He's got a very large family.
I do, and then Anthony Prohaska over here is doing 6 Christmases trying to beat out Vince Vaughn for whatever reason. He's got this weird thing going on. Yeah, but why? Why does he have to figure out? How about you people? If you want to do something, you come visit me. You don't want to visit me? Then screw you, pal. Then I stay here at my house. That's what I'm saying.
If everybody did that, then no one would visit anybody. That's right. The problem.
No one would go.
It sounds like it's
got to suck it up.
It seems like very much like a manifesto from somebody who lives on like Mount Crumpet in Whoville and is upset at everybody's happiness down there. This sounds very, very, very Grinch-like.
I'd have a pretty lonely Christmas because all of my family is down here in New York City where I reside. I'm the one that's got to get in the car and travel. If I went, you know what? I'm going to be Paul this year, and you want to see me for Christmas? I'll be here. My tree's right over there. Come on up. They'd be like, okay, well, we'll see you next year, pal. Right. And you can take those gifts too. We won't be sending those via, mail. You can come pick those up next year too. Now you got it. It's part of the thing, Paul. It's part of the thing. Just work around it. There's nothing like the eccentric aunt. The bizarre uncle, the insane
weird
habits
cousin
that certain family members have. I mean, come on, man. It's man. Listen, embrace it and then laugh about it, because it will lead to stories for years and years to come. Hey. I still share. I was just with my son in the city, as you know. We made a little trip to the city, Anthony. I'm down here in New York, as you can see. I'm not in my normal studio. And I was telling my son stories from my time as a child at Christmas, what we used to do. We used to go to my grandparents' house where they live, which is not far from where my son lives now. I was like, oh, you were near Grandma and Grandpa's house where I used to go. Your great-grandmother and grandfather. I told him the tradition of the neighborhood guy who used to, come in as Kris Kringle there for us. I'm trying to, just in case any of the kiddies are watching. Sure. I don't want to spoil it. I hate to do that around Christmas time. So, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, I was sharing, like, you got to have those stories, Paul. Like,
if you have a story,
the box. Remember, I told you the box inside the box story.
I do.
In a refrigerator-sized box, and it was like a ring inside a box.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I've got advice for people, right? For this, you got a story to share? Send it in a Christmas card. I get mail here.
No,
It
but
comes
the
to
whole
house.
thing is you're creating the stories come from the memories that you're creating by being present at the holiday.
Overrated.
Well, I mean, I guess if you're getting,
Pass the
you guys are
biscuits.
also getting like Bic razors in your stockings and stuff over there.
Yeah,
where you are. So
bizarre,
maybe
right?
I'd feel different if that was my Christmas.
Right. And was it with Anthony that we shared the story of how your in-laws torture you with
Yes.
the box that's
Yeah,
taped
that was
up?
last
You heard the
week.
story, Anthony?
Yeah.
Come on, this is great initiation. Like, who wouldn't want to share that story at some point with their
That's a
family?
good story.
These
Yeah, go
people
through.
literally initiated me. It was like a hazing to get into this family. What the heck? I don't even want in, and now I'm in, and they're going to haze me on the way in. What the heck's going on?
You know what's hilarious? I've never told anyone that story. And so you guys were my therapists. That's really what happened last week. You thought, what a jolly old
There
story
you
Boy
go.
Green shared last week. No,
Merry
it was a terrible scar. I'm like, you want to see how I got these scars, man? Here's what
Let me tell you
happened
how
at my in-laws. It's disgusting.
Now, Anthony, you have how many children? Is it just the one daughter? Or
Just the one,
have, You have one daughter. Okay. And she is young, right? How old is she?
She's 2.5.
2.5. And what's her name?
I don't want to share.
Oh, okay. Yeah, public.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scary world out here, you know?
Yeah,
well, you could share that with us privately. But happy holidays to you and
thank
your
you.
little girl and to your entire family. Thanks so much for spending some time, especially here during Christmas week, talking Buffalo
Yeah.
Bills. And as I say, we'll see you next year, pal, or close to it.
I would say, it might be next year. But yeah, you guys enjoy your holidays. This has been awesome. We're wrapping up, starting to put a bow on 2025. And Jim, have a great time with your family down
Thank you.
there in the city. And Paul,
Paul,
same to you
don't.
and yours.
Yeah.
And I
don't
hope you
have a
get-
good time with your family.
Yeah,
Paul.
I hope
It's
you get all
okay,
the
you know?
razors and have the horrible experiences that you don't want to have.
Well, I will end here. My in-laws are coming to stay at my house. So
Oh, so there you go.
That's always a rough go.
I'll
that
let
one,
holidays,
that one Anthony
Merry
and I don't have. We don't have that going on. So Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
There you go.
You'll be fine, Paul. Just stories.
It'll be
Stories.
all right.
Think of the stories. Put it all in the memory bank. Bring it
Yeah.
back next
Make
year.
some
It'll
cookies,
be
you'll be fine.
entertaining,
Yeah.
engaging, fantastic.
Yeah.
Anthony Prohaska, cover one. Another successful appearance here on our show. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon. Take care.